good I can. I got 2 blue darters. Only I'm in need of them. Is that aggravating?
Has that woman arrived yet?
What one?
Miss Vale?
No? How will I know her?
You'll know. She'll tell you she's Miss Vale.
Simple, ain't it?
When she comes, you're to let her into the library. She's going to none of the other rooms. Is that clear?
She's to go into the library, but ain't going to none of them.
That's correct, Ellie. I want you to remember that.
I don't forget easy, ma'am.
Come with Diane. Don't forget to call the bakery right away.
Yes, would this be the Crimson Bakery? Oh, it would be. Well, this would be the Clayton residence, and we would just be wondering what happened to that wedding cake. We ain't sending the guests out there for it. You better get that wedding cake here immediately, or the wedding cake will really be crimson. Anybody think I didn't have a kind heart? Clayton residence, 11th County, Rockville, Massachusetts. Who is this? Who? Are you coming to the wedding? Well, you can't come without an invitation. Unless you're Miss Vale. Who's Miss Vale? How am I supposed to know? Anybody think I mixed up the whole town?
Chatter. You got it. Don't worry for that kid before. Ellie.
Put in the library. This ain't no place for a groom to be.
Thought you might like to know something.
Know something.
Have any ears left?
What?
Yes, ma'am. No ears left. The people in the other room are tucking my ears right off of you.
Come on now, Mr. John.
Wish you'd order me a nice piece of justice. Send all these silver over next home.
That ain't no way for a groom to be talking, looking all handsome and all.
This color is hanging me. Tell me, Ellie, why on every great occasion a man wants to be uncomfortable?
You got years ahead of you to be comfortable, Mr. John.
That's a consolation, isn't it? Ellie, I'm hungry. Do you have anything for me?
You've been saying that since you and Miss Diane were little eating green apples. I'll see what we got for sandwiches, Mr. John. Oh dear, you're bad luck.
What the heck of a thing to say to a room?
Mother would be furious to think I saw you before the wedding. It is supposed to be bad luck, you know.
Well, since we've gone this far, you might as well kiss me.
Oh, Johnny. It's wonderful. Wonderful to make love me.
Always forever.
And even the day after forever.
Yeah, forever.
Oh, that was a little verse Mother used to recite to me when I was a child. She learned it from some neighbor who used to rock her baby to sleep with it.
How'd it go?
Dream sweet, my dear one, and let tomorrow scare you never. Dream sweet for always, dear one, and we'll meet the day after forever.
It's pretty great. Just rock and kiss that one day.
Oh, Johnny, I want so much to be a wonderful wife, to be everything you've ever wanted.
You're all I've ever wanted. That's why I'm hanging this thing I get you for keeps. You want to know what else I got?
What else?
A punch from a bank and a raise in salary.
Oh, Johnny, that's wonderful!
Ah!
Pam.
I love it. What's so funny?
You are. The groom eating sandwiches a few minutes before his wedding. You're supposed to be nervous.
It's meant to conceal it.
Oh, Miss Diane. I don't think I ever remember you in time looking so pretty. Oh.
Diane.
Oh, let me go on alone, Johnny, and you can follow in a few minutes later. It's better she doesn't my side for the wedding.
Okay. Hey.
I hope there ain't bad news in that paper. Nobody ought to get bad news on Miss Diane's wedding day.
Julie Preston has been raised with 20 years of hard labor.
You know her?
Sure know about her. 20 years ago, she ended up with several $1,000. Who think I work for her?
20 years ago, you and Miss Diane were just outgrowing diapers.
I bet you didn't look the same as she did in this old photograph. She's too pretty, huh?
She sure don't look like the kind of woman that would embezzle money from a bank.
Those are exactly the people that get away with it before they're caught.
I guess if I was to embezzle money from a bank, I'd want to get caught too before I fainted. I bet that's Miss Vale.
Miss Bell?
Yeah, that one woman that's supposed to go into the library and love her.
Johnny, what in the world are you doing out here?
I came in to relax and eat a nice ham sandwich.
Reverend Travis has arrived and is waiting to see me You should look back. You shouldn't. You're free. Free now. Free to live as you choose, to make a good life for yourself.
Free? I'll never be free. For 20 years, I waited for this day. 20 years of waiting, wondering, and hoping. 20 years is a long time. After a while, you might still wonder and wait, but you don't wait anymore. For until the day I went to find out, there will always be yes.
I promised you 20 years ago that you would be able to see Diana on her wedding day. But you, of course, remember the promise you made to me in return.
What letter do I want to talk?
It's for Diana's sake that I'm doing this.
I'd like to thank you for doing everything in my world. Everything I would like to do.
I told Diana that there would be a woman coming for last-minute details in case she may be needed.
She'll not be dismissed.
Yes, and there's no risk of Diane or Johnny recognizing you. But I prefer that you remain here in the library in case anyone else sees you.
I understand.
It's for Diane's sake that I'm doing this. You must help me guard the happiness she has found. She'll be living in town, and the greater part of her friends are townspeople. She's very popular with the other set here.
I'm glad. I shall always be proud of her. At the end of every day, I always stop and think to myself, there's still Diana. There's still my baby. I pray she will have a good life. Cake's come, and it's the biggest, most beautiful cake I've ever seen.
All right, Elodie.
Woo, look at my own sweet tooth already.
All right, Elodie.
Mother, coming downstairs, I tripped on the train in my gown. It ripped, and Ellie has some needle and thread.
Oh, what a shame. I'll call Elodie and we'll get a new one ready. Perhaps Miss Vale can prepare it for you.
Oh, you're Mrs. Vale.
Yes, I'm Miss Vale.
Mother said she'd be happy to hear in case of the last minute catastrophe. She's always looking ahead for me. She's a very far-sighted woman. Ellie?
Elodie, can you please grab a needle and thread for Miss Vale?
I know exactly where some is. Won't be 2 cents of a kangaroo's tail.
Well, it's not too bad, but I'm sure Miss Mother wants to fix it.
I certainly shall. Aunt Eloise has an empty blown idol. She never misses a trick.
Well, once I'm through with it, Aunt Eloise will have nothing to say about how beautiful the bride is.
Oh, well, the handsomest of the groom outshines the beauty of the bride.
I shouldn't believe it.
You'll have to see him.
I would very much like to see the groom.
Mother, I think she should stay past the ceremony, don't you?
Oh, no, honey, I can't stay. I'm afraid I must leave once the ceremony ends.
What a shame. I wish you'd reconsider. I'll say I'm getting blind as a bat. Every time I try to thread this thing, then it's jumping around.
Thank you, Elodie.
Reminds me of when me and my grandma.
Thank you, Elodie.
Thanks be to you, ma'am. Poor Elodie. She's worked with my mother since I was 7 years old. It was Mother who taught me how to be a lady, but it was Elodie who kept me out of mischief.
Well, if I had a little girl, I would thank Eloise for that.
You don't have any children, Mrs. Vale?
Well, I have a little girl, but I lost her when she was about 6 months old.
Oh, that's terrible. I think if that would have happened to me, I'd want to die.
You can't challenge progress. Perhaps it was faster.
Well, it's great to see it that way, Mrs. Vale. You must be a very exceptional woman.
Do you think I'm exceptional, my dear?
Absolutely. Mother, don't you think Mrs. Vale is a very exceptional woman?
I think Miss Vale has faced an ordeal with much courage, Diana. thank you, Mrs. Bill. I'll always remember